welcome back to the Marker Challenge. Thank you so much for joining me last night for our live check-in, and I hope you enjoyed those tips that we included in that as well. So as always, if you have any questions, you know how to get hold of us. But today I want to start doing the practice on cardstock. So we've talked about vellum. Now we're going to really talk about cardstock. So I have on here 2 leaves, you can see there, and I'm just going to use my amalgam ink. Just like this, and I'm going to stamp this out. So you can see that I've got my nice lines, and I'm going to heat set this. I find that heat setting it means it's going to move less on me. As I say, you can let it dry naturally, or I gave you some tips last night about using hair dryers and toasters and all different things I've used in the past because I've had to. But you do want to make sure it really is thoroughly dry. And the appearance of the ink will change a little bit. You'll see that it's not as intense and glossy. You'll see that it's actually soaked into the paper. So there we go. Okay, so that's our 2 leaves for today's practice piece. I'm going to do leaves on one side and we're going to do a bud on the other side tomorrow. So we're going to practice both of those options. And so I'm going to take my greens here and let's put them in order. I like them in order in front of me. So 416, 410, 410. So 410 is your lightest, 412 is your mid, and 416 is your darkest. Or if you have a different arrangement, it's lowest to highest. Lowest being the lightest, highest being the darkest. So we're going to start off by saturating these leaves. So I'm just going to take 1 leaf. And you can decide if you want to do both sides at the same time or just one side. This. And so I start just by outlining and then I'm filling in. I'm looking for it to be a nice smooth coat, and then I'm going to check the reverse as to whether I've got that nice outline, which I do. You can see it right there. Okay, so now we're going to go to our mid shade. And one thing you're going to want to think about is where do you want to put these lights and darks in. So for this particular one, I'm going to go up from the bottom. And I'm using that flicking technique that we practiced, as you can see. And then I'm going to go back to my lightest, and I'm going to flick from the top to even that out. You see there how that's looking nice and tonal. And then we're going to go to our darkest shade and we're going to add less. So again, we're going to start at the bottom with flicking. But you'll notice now I'm maybe only going 1/3 up rather than 2/3 up. Some bits a little bit longer than others. You don't want everything the same because, of course, in nature, nothing is the same. Then we're going to go back to our mid shade and we're going to go over and blend. And then I'm going to take my lightest shade and I'm going to flick from the top. What I might do is just kind of blend out some of those areas, just depending on how it's looking. And you can see there I've got a really nice blend in my leaf. Actually, the colours, like the separations in colours, looks far more intense on the camera than it does here. Here it's got a really nice gradual change in colour. So that's 1 leaf. So you can see really, really easy. Now this leaf here, we're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to go over, outline, colour, saturate, just like this. You see I'm colouring over those black lines. They're not moving on me because I heat set them, or as I say, I could leave it overnight. And you'll notice what I've done is I've left that little folded piece. I'm going to do the rest of the leaf and then I'm going to come back to that. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. Just kind of flick, maybe like 2/3 of the way up. But you notice how my flicks are rounding with the shape of my leaf. So I'm trying to keep that shape in case you do see any of my marker lines on there. And then I'm going to flick back into them just to soften them out a little bit. And then we're going to go back in with our darkest. And back to our mid. Just like that. And then to our lightest. Again, really nice graduation. And it really looks like that leaf has got that curvature in it as well, which is what I'm going for. Now we're going to go back to this piece here and we're going to just add a little bit of our lightest colour, which I added my mid. So because I added my mid, we all know that our blender pen is a bleacher pen. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to bleach it, which you can totally do, because I want this piece to be lighter. If you think about how when a leaf curls over, it's always lighter on the reverse side. So we just want to leave that quite light, just with a little bit of a tint of colour in it. So that's how I'm going to do that one. And then I have a couple of little bleeds here, just where I've added maybe a little bit too much ink. Always remembering that porous piece underneath. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start pushing that back in. And if you have a larger bleed, you might have to work on it a couple of times. It might not work the first time either. But you also don't want to add too much blender solution at one time because it can affect your colouring and it can also leave a mark on your paper. So I always say kind of light and just do a few coats if needed. And this is how I kind of tidy up the edge of those images. But you can see that on there. So that will dull down, it will pull back out that colour, and there are my graduated leaves. So if you have any questions, let us know, but I can't wait to see your practice pieces. Be sure to upload them in the Facebook group, and then I will see you again tomorrow when we're going to be doing buds. I'll see you then. Bye.